Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you've never seen me before, then hi, welcome. So today's video is not my usual content, but I just had to share this with you guys because it was the best and happiest moment of my entire life. So like I said, I just had to talk about it with you guys. So if you haven't already read the title, today I'm going to be doing a little story time, but it's the story time of how I met Ian Somerhalder. Yes, you heard that right. Ian Somerhalder, aka Damon Salvatore from the Vampire Diaries. So before I tell you all that, just thought I'd draw attention to the shirt I'm wearing. I actually got this from the convention, but yeah, it's so cute and I just had to wear it for this video. I also just wanted to show you my coffee because I served it in this mason jar, which if you didn't notice already, says bonded since 1864. And of course it has the Salvatore brothers on it. I also got this from the convention, and like, isn't it also the cutest ever? I hope you also grabbed your snacks, your coffee, and got comfy because this is going to be a long one. If you didn't know, I am such a big TVD fan. I mean, it's kind of obvious if I'm telling this story, but I've watched the Vampire Diaries probably more than 50 times. Actually, not probably, I'm pretty sure of it. That show is my favorite comfort show. I will literally never get tired of watching it, even though now I can quote entire episodes when I'm watching it. It just is so special to me. I have such a connection with all the characters and the cast as well. It will always mean so much to me. And since the first time I watched that show, the second Ian Somerhalder / Damon Salvatore came on screen, since hello brother, if you know you know.
Hello, brother.
I was in love. Since he said that line, it was over. And I was Team Damon since the start. But as the years went on and I grew more as a fan, I also not only loved the character, but loved the actor as well. Because Ian, I mean, first of all, come on, he's hot. Like, that man ages like fine wine. I had to say it. But not only because of that, but because of the person he is honestly just like the sweetest and kindest human being ever. I never doubted it for a second, but I actually can confirm that he's actually that sweet and kind and just perfect in real life. So like I said, this was all possible because I went to a convention in Chicago. Now, if you're not aware, I live in Puerto Rico, so I actually flew over 5 hours just to see this man. And I don't care, I would do it all over again. It was so worth it. But before I actually went to Chicago to see him, obviously I had to buy the tickets beforehand. And I just wanted to say how insanely grateful I am that I got to experience this and I got to meet him. Like, I still cannot believe it happened, and that's partly because of how chaotic the whole ticket buying process was, because literally the day after I bought the tickets, they were all sold out. The photo op with Ian was also sold out. It was insane. In the moment, I was so stressed, but I accomplished it. But also thankful to my mom because she came with me to the convention, and this whole trip was also like very last minute, so she helped me a lot. And so shout out to you, mom. But anyway, so the day of the convention, we get to the hotel and I was so lost, guys. This was my first time going to a convention in general, and so I was very stressed. I didn't want to like miss anything, especially my photo op with Ian, but they had a schedule and honestly everyone there was really helpful. And so the first thing I had to do was exchange my photo op ticket for like another ticket they gave you. Also, this is a convention which is held by Creation Entertainment, so I thought I'd mention that if you were curious. But anyways, like I was saying, so I had to bring my photo op ticket printed, so in exchange they could give me this ticket. Of course I had to keep it. It's a memory from that experience. So after I had this ticket in my hand, all I had left to do was wait. So I had to go do that in the room where the panel was going to be later, and there were 2 screens. They had numbers on them. Those numbers meant the group you were in. I was group 151, so it went like 1 through 50, 50 through 100, 100 through 150, and finally 150 through 200. So that last group was the group I was in. So I didn't wait that long, but it felt like forever to me. I was so nervous, but at the same time, I hadn't realized yet that I was actually going to meet Ian Somerhalder. But anyway, so finally my group was called and my heart was literally beating out of my chest. The photo op was actually in another room. It was on the 2nd floor. So I was going on the escalator on my way to meet Ian Somerhalder, and I cannot even begin to describe how I was feeling. It was was a lot of emotions at once. I was literally visibly shaking, but I was obviously so happy, so excited, but I was also just in utter shock. But the line reached all the way outside the room, so I'm standing there waiting in line, and like I said, I'm feeling a lot. Then the line got closer and I actually was inside the room. I was still in line. There were still a couple people in front of me, but I was actually in the room where Ian Somerhalder was in, and I tried to take a peek at him because there was like this backdrop blocking him, and so I actually had to stand on my tippy toes just so I could take a peek at him, and I actually did. I think no, I hadn't let myself realize it yet, but seeing him like there in real life, I can't explain it. If you get it, you get it. But he was so tall. Like, that's the first thing I thought. And it was so cold in there, so it just made my shaking worse. But anyway, so now there was one person in front of me. I'm not even kidding you. Now, like, talking about it and just remembering it all again. Not that it hasn't stuck with me or in my mind 24/7. Like, my heart is beating. It feels like I'm in that moment, you know, in that room again, about to meet him. But anyways, so the person in front of me was leaving out of the room, and that meant it was my turn. That man, okay, Ian Somerhalder, with his blue eyes, the bluest eyes I have ever seen in my life. Okay, I can actually confirm his eyes are that blue in real life. Actually, I think even bluer. I don't know how that's possible. But he turned the other way, looked at me, like his eyes were staring into my soul, and like his whole attention went to me. Like, just that statement alone is unbelievable to me. This whole experience meeting him was like such an out-of-body experience. That's the only way I can describe it. So the second he looked at me, I think I blacked out, and not only I can confirm his eyes are that blue in real life, I can also confirm that I don't know how this is possible, but he's like even more gorgeous and handsome in real life. Like, it was unreal that Ian Somerhalder / Damon Salvatore was standing in front of me and looking at me and waiting for me to say something. So while all of that went through my mind, then I was actually like, wait, I have to say something. So let me tell you, I don't know how my legs moved. I don't even know how words came out of me, but thankfully they did, because then it would have been pretty awkward and embarrassing. But I moved, walked closer to him, and said really quickly, because obviously I was so nervous and shaking, "My mom and I love you and the show so much." That's what I said. And the first thing he said to me was, "Where is she?" Now, like I said, my mom came with me to the convention, but she was waiting for me downstairs because they didn't let her come up with me if she wasn't also going to be taking the photo with me and Ian. So I said, "Downstairs." And he said, "Send her my love." I love him so much. So I think after that, I just nodded and said like, okay, can you blame me? I mean, so then after we took the photo, and I'm sorry, I smile every time I say the story. I can't help it, but the second I moved even closer to him to take the photo, this man, Ian Somerhalder, put his arm around me. I don't know how I reacted or moved, but I also put my arm around his waist, and so we were hugging. Like, I actually hugged Ian Somerhalder. Again, that statement alone, I don't know how it's real. I don't know how it happened. Anyways, so not only did he put his arm around me and side hug me, but I also felt this grip on my shoulder. He literally did like this. And I think, look, I may be delusional, but I think he did this because, like I said, I was visibly shaking. So I think he could definitely tell that I was nervous. So I think he just did that so I knew I was safe. I was there with him. And that little gesture meant everything to me, whether or not he actually did it for the reasons I just told you. Nevertheless, he did it. So it meant everything to me. So after we took the photo, I quickly turned around. Again, I don't know how words came out of me, but they did. And I quickly said, "I also came all the way from Puerto Rico." So I hadn't planned on saying this, but the words just came out of me. I told him that, and the second I did, this is the expression he did. And he was like, "What?" He fist bumped me twice. And then this part is a little bit blurry, but I'm pretty sure he said to me after, "Will I see you later?" And he said that because they had a panel later. And I said, "Yes." Like, of course you will. We can even, you know, meet up after that if you want to also. I didn't say that, of course, but I was thinking it. Then he said, "Bye, lovely." Ian Somerhalder called me lovely. So then I just left, walked out of the room, and I think that's when it all clicked. Like, that's when I actually realized that I had met Ian Somerhalder, and I became so overwhelmed with emotions. I had never actually experienced like just being so overwhelmed with happiness and emotions that I started crying, but obviously it was like happy tears. But I don't know, it was like this once in a lifetime feeling, and I can't even describe it. I was just like walking out of the room on my way downstairs to my mom, and the last few minutes just going through my mind all over again. As I was walking, this mother and her daughter catch up to me. They were actually behind me while I was waiting in line before I met Ian, and like we talked for a bit, being just me freaking out about meeting Ian, but they were so sweet and nice to me. But anyway, so as I was saying, they catch up to me, and it's to tell me that Ian kept talking about me after I left. They were like, hey, wait, Ian actually kept talking about you the whole time after you left. He kept saying, she came all the way from Puerto Rico, and he kept saying it to everyone in the room. And after they said that to me, of course I said bye to them, they said bye to me, but then after that, I just started bawling. I was just like in utter shock again. But anyway, so I was on the escalator, I saw my mom, I ran to her, and I think just seeing her, I don't know why, but I bawled even more. And I started telling her everything, and then after I had calmed down a bit, I didn't even notice she was doing this, but she was taking a video of me. But by that point, I was like still crying, but at the same time, I was just like laughing and smiling because it was happy tears, like I said. I was just so unbelievably happy that I got to meet him. Yeah, that's it. That was my experience of meeting Ian Somerhalder, aka Damon Salvatore. Now I want to show you the picture that I took because obviously they gave me the printed version and the digital version, but of course I had to frame the printed version of it and put it on my wall. Here it is. Like every time I look at it, I giggle and smile. This is my favorite picture of me, definitely. Not only because I'm standing next to Ian Somerhalder and he is hugging me. Like in the actual picture, you can see how he was like holding me and like gripping me. There's proof. But not only because of that, but because I was genuinely happy in that moment. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not smiling for the picture. I'm smiling in the picture. And I'm just so happy and grateful that the photographer was able to capture that moment. And every time I walk past it, I look at it and stare at it, and every time I go to bed too, I like kiss it and I go to sleep. I'm just kidding, I actually don't do that. Like I said, that was my experience of meeting Ian Somerhalder. I just want to say again how grateful and thankful I am for this experience because it meant everything to me. I also just want to say thank you, even though you'll probably never watch this, but to Ian because he was just so sweet and lovely to me. Everything I expected him to be, it's just unreal. Let's just say I'll never forget this experience. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and hearing me talk a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and I guess that's all I have to say. See you guys in my next video. Bye!